Hello, I'm Saul Hudson from Angle 42, and today I am with Manfred J of CoinW and Ronghui Gu of CertiK. And we're here in this wonderful setting, which is bright, and you're with two companies that are indeed working hard to make sure that the shining future of the crypto industry is bright as well. And one main way to consider doing that is on the trading side to make sure that people feel confident, truly confident that they can actually do the trading, feeling secure. Now, this means in the infrastructure side, and I know with CoinW being an exchange that puts as a central idea, the idea that you have to have this confidence. And when it comes to CertiK, you're talking about the security that you provide all across the industry, behind the industry. So I wonder if you could introduce yourself a little, tell us about your background, so that Manfred then give us your perspective, exactly how it is that we need people to have true confidence to be able to trade.
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. So I'm Manfred from CoinW. So I have been in the crypto space for a few years right now. So predominantly focusing a lot on the global business development. So in CoinW, I predominantly focus on strategic partnership with layer ones, protocols, right? My take for security itself is not a function, right? It's a need, right? So I think we cannot compromise in terms of security. Yeah.
So it's a need.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just something that we should be aspiring for. In fact, this is something that is necessary. So if I can come to you, your basic background here and how that fits in to give you a perspective on what it means to provide security for this confidence that we need to support.
Sure. I'm Ronghui Gu. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CertiK. I'm also a computer science professor at Columbia University. So my research was focused on software security, formal verification, and so on. And so we founded CertiK in the year of 2017. So has been many years, right? Almost 9 years. So we start from day one, where we work with many big players in the space, like exchanges, wallets, DeFi protocols, to help them, let's say, try to improve their security, try to help them build the confidence. Right? It's a long journey, very challenging. We became, I think we work with most of the big players in the space. We have served more than 5,000 clients so far, and became unicorn in the year of 2021, and being large, I would say widely considered as the largest Web3 cybersecurity firm. And in terms of confidence, I would say it's very, very hard to build.
Right.
I would say it took lots of effort, and it's an endless war, right? So as you both mentioned, right, it's kind of like we need to help secure the infrastructure. We need to secure, let's say, the application on top of it. We need to secure smart contracts, and meanwhile, we also need to deliver this confidence, right, to the end users, right? That's also a pretty challenging thing, right? So you may have done lots of things, but how user can feel it, right? So that's why we publish actually all of our audit reports. And also we build our Skynet rating platform, right, to give end users kind of like a feeling, high-level impression about how secure this, let's say, infrastructure is, right? What are the parts that can be trusted? What are the parts can be improved? Right?
So you're publishing all of your audits.
Yeah, we publish all our audit reports.
That kind of transparency is needed for the confidence.
Yeah.
Right? And if you look at it from an exchange perspective, you mentioned challenges. So Manfred, from an exchange's view, what are those challenges? What are the biggest challenges when you're trying to think of security?
I think it's like what is mentioned, right? It's an endless war, right? Things, the threats are evolving day by day, right? So I think at the top of my head, right, we're talking about AIs, right? AI agents. Those are pretty imminent threats that we have to face, right? So, but having said that, security, like I mentioned earlier, right, is a need, right? Fundamentally, to give more confidence, right, we actually heavily invest in security. And it's not a one-off thing. It's going to be a continuous effort, right? So I think, having said that, as an exchange, I wouldn't say that we are free from threats. I think threats are happening every day, right? But we do our utmost best, right? Invest in the right partners, right, to enhance our security, to give the users the ease of mind to trade.
So the way you're providing that confidence is, first of all, you're prepared to put the investment in, and you see it as a constant work to fight the threats because they're evolving. So what are those trends? We've mentioned AI. You know, you have to keep ahead of those people who are the threat. So what trends have you been seeing that you have to keep ahead of?
Yeah, so good question. So I can give some of the data. So we publish our Hack Strategy report twice a year. So from our study, actually the total financial loss, right, each year has been increased. So let's say 2025, kind of like almost doubled about the loss in the year of 2024. And 2026, in the first 4 months, we already seeing so many hacks happen, right? Like in April, just last month, right? There's just only 3 days without hacking events. So it's really crazy, to be honest. And the thing is, although the number has been increased, but we see some interesting trends. Like first of all, the loss due to smart contract vulnerabilities actually has been dropped, right? Meaning that, well, most of the projects pay enough attention and also enough resources, right, to secure their smart contracts. So we have already seen the job of that part, but we have seen the increase, let's say, in the supply chain attack, in operation, let's say, in a private key leakage, right, like social engineering and so on. That part has been increased a lot. So although there's no strong evidence showing that this is related to the development of AI, but we firmly believe that, well, AI definitely empowered many of these attacks and so on. So we can see this trend, and actually makes it harder to defend such kind of attacks, right? We briefly talk about it, right? And and we need to catch up. So CertiK need to catch up with our security solution, right? We need to expand our defense solutions, right? From smart contracts and so on to, let's say, operational security and so on, and also try to strengthen the monitoring system and so on. So yeah, that's a trend, and I would say previously it's already very challenging, and it's going to be more challenging.
So your perspective is so valuable because as the largest group, and you're publishing all of your audits, and you identify the trends that actually numbers have been going up year over year. You even said doubling from 1 year to the next. Even though the smart contracts on a technical side of things are better in terms of security, there's a whole range of other threats that have been enhanced by probably the AI. And so it's good that you see the trends so that then you can focus on staying ahead of them. And I know that CoinW also takes initiatives. I did notice, of course, that you've rolled out W Connect. And so that initiative to foster cross-ecosystem cooperation, how does that reflect your attitudes to security?
I think, that's a very fantastic question. I mean, W Connect itself is an initiative that we actually, gel different kind of layers, layer one together, right? We create an ecosystem campaign, right, to overly enhance the importance to educate our users. Right? I think different layers, different protocols have their own security functions, right? But for an exchange perspective, right, our job is how can we empower the users to make the right decision, to educate them, right, and to give them better exposure to in a safe environment, right? Needless to say, because everything happens within the confine of CoinW, right? And our principle, right, is for the users, right, to ensure a safe and efficient and the freedom to trade for our users.
So focusing on the users in order to provide that education, that helps with their own confidence.
Yep.
So I wonder, Ronghui, if I can come back to you and ask, so we're talking about this confidence that we're trying to boost, and we know it's challenging, but if you had to identify the key pillars which are needed in order to be boosting this confidence around security, what would they be?
Yeah, I would say, well, in order to enhance confidence, right? Actually, we need first of all, we need transparency, right? Second, we need a good way to do communication, right? So, then with the cybersecurity technology, when we combine these together, right, we can create this confidence, right? Like I mentioned about, we talk about transparency, like publishing all the reports, like proof of reserve, right? Like we disclose, right, all this initiative, right, to the public. I think these definitely enhance transparency, right? Communication, I think, well, this Fireside chat, right? One of the purposes is also trying to improve the communication, right? Communicate our thoughts, right, to the public and so on. And then cybersecurity technology, as I mentioned, AI indeed introduce some threats, right? How can we utilize AI model to catch up, right? This trend, right, to enhance the existing solution. For example, like we released AI Auditor last month, right, to help developers to utilize AI to secure their code during the development before the audit, right? Rather than wait until let's say a milestone, send lots of new updates to us, and we do audit at that time. We try to kind of integrate this auditing procedure into the development cycle. Yeah.
So being preemptive actually is obviously helpful. Here we are, we're looking back at, as you said, even in April, there were only 3 days when we perceived there wasn't a hack. And this is the constant threat. But we tend to look at the latest hack and what's happened today and what's going to happen tomorrow. But if we think longer term, obviously there's an idea of partnership here. How do you view the importance, Manfred, of partnerships in a long-term strategy?
I think personally it's not a one-man battle. It's going to take the whole, I believe working with top firms like CertiK, right, will definitely enhance our cybersecurity, our security in our exchange. Secondly, we also find that, how can we better, I mean, it's an endless battle, right? So how can we better allocate our resources to enhance our security? It's not an overnight thing. It's the constant, like being preemptive, right? Being ahead of the threat, right? To find where's our weak point, right? So all these are things that we are doing preemptively and consistently, not simply just like integrating AI with human. So we do real-time monitoring on the situation. Any anomalies in terms of trading is immediately flagged out. So these are the things that we are doing on our own, right? But working with top partners like CertiK, definitely to add on to our robust current system.
So AI is coming up a lot in this conversation. Here you are talking about the monitoring for AI. It's really interesting that you're integrating preemptively AI work in the audits as people are making their developments, which makes me think this combination. So from a CertiK perspective, what's important with a partnership of a central exchange like with CoinW? Why is that important for the security?
Yeah, sure. So actually, as I mentioned, right, so we see the trend like the drop of the hacks related to smart contract vulnerability. Why? Because I would say in the industry, we work with all these partners, right? We try to improve the best practice. We try to kind of like involve our technology, right? We can see more and more real attack cases, right, to improve our solution, right? And that's how we improve the security for smart contracts. And now, as we mentioned, we can see there are more attack vectors, right, with AI and so on. So we have seen more threats. So at this point, it's really, really important for big players in the space like CoinW, other exchanges like other big DeFi protocols, right, work with cybersecurity firms like CertiK, right? We work together to face all this new threats, to co-develop. I try to use the term co-develop, right? The solution, the best solution to I would say, to try to address the current challenges.
So we have cooperation, we have partnership, and co-development is key, which makes me think about the positions that you have in the whole industry. We're talking about CoinW as a global exchange, and you're expanding. You know, so how does security shape the way you approach your strategy for expanding when it's from a global perspective?
I think it's a company mindset of being like security first, right? In terms of our development also. So before we roll out any new features, we want to make sure that we stress test it, ensure it's airtight, right? I know like there's nothing airtight as things are evolving, but we do our best to ensure that things are as secure as possible, right? So these are the things that as a company like CoinW, right, is our principle, right? To ensure safety first, security first, and users have an ease of mind to be in a comfortable, safe trading environment.
So let's think as a conclusion about that user trust. You know, from when CertiK is thinking how the future of an exchange security and user trust is considered, what's your vision for that future?
Okay, so I would say that so we have been in this industry for many years, and when we start, right, there's no clear regulation framework. There's no clear best practice, right, for security. There's even no what should be included in the audit report. And so I think, we work with many partners, right, important players like CoinW together along this journey, right, trying to refine things step by step. And now I think it's important timing frame that you can see the compliance framework become more and more clear, right? And globally, right, we can see like in UAE, in Asia, right, there are lots of development there, and we also see the institution adoption, right, for Web3 and so on. So now I would say it's a time to kind of like define the new standard, right, for cybersecurity, right? What is necessary infrastructure features that we need to build, right, to, let's say, to embrace, let's say, the institutional adoption, like to face the new challenges, right, introduced by AI and so on. So I would say this is an important time, and we should all work and fight together.
I agree. So this is the important time, and it's time for us to wrap this up. And I thank you very much for the conversation. It's very clear that the threats do not go away. They're probably working on the hacks right now, but you are the good guys, you know, trying to keep them at bay. And it's going to be very important to, as you say, trailblaze in order to have these new standards. So thank you very much for the conversation.
Yeah, thank you.